Good morning and welcome to the Ask Weldon Show, episode 182. Today we're going to talk about when is the best time to practice mindfulness, how to go pro without support, replacing old habits with new ones. That is, if you're learning, but those things are not taking in game. Like you're learning and things are going well and you're picking up strategy and you know about the game, but for some reason you just can't stop doing the stupid mistakes you know are wrong. And then a last bonus question, which you will see what it is at the end of the show. Thank you for tuning in today. I know that if you're on YouTube right now, you can just click next video, but actually, if you've been watching these live, there has been a 14-week break between, or 14-day week. Oh, gosh. A 14-day break between the previous show and this one, and that is because I just had a fourth baby. Welcome. Welcome to the world, Rasmus. Rasmus is his name, and he is joining us as a fourth member of my little squad fam in my house, and we just got home from the hospital. We spent about 6 days there before the birth and a day, I think, after the birth, kind of just being a late baby. He was 6 or 7 days post 42 weeks, so almost 40, 1 day shy of 43 weeks before he was born, which is pretty late if you look at modern medicine, although there's a lot of thought that we don't have any actually idea about human gestation for real. But anyway, according to modern medicine, he was pretty late, which means that he was just happy as a pea in a pod and did not want to be born really at all. But eventually he came out, and here we are. I'm back, and now I have my schedule back and my stream back and a little bit less sleep at night to go along with it. So make sure that you turn in. Big announcements for the week. I've already made these on Twitch. So if you want to keep up with that, make sure to go to twitch.tv/mindgamesweldon. But the big announcements are these. We're going to be kicking off theme weeks, themed shows. So, for example, there's going to be Training Tuesday, Fitness Friday, and Science Saturday to kick it off to start with. These are the three that I'm going to add for now. We can vary them. We can get rid of them. We can add new ones. Essentially, Training Tuesday is I'm going to put out a link, which I will probably add to the description down below this video, where you can sign up for a free hour of training streamed live on Tuesday, LA time, 6:30 p.m. LA time. And it's basically a call-in where we're gonna talk, and I'm going to do the same exact individual training that I do with pro players, except that instead of expensive and private, it's going to be free and streamed. And then people are going to see what it's like to do training. So we might do, we might have special guests coming in to be trained, or we'll pull trainees from the audience, from you guys, and we will also probably do what I want to say, like not cycles, but like several runs, right? So we want people to see like what does a second session look like or a third session look like. So we might do a couple weeks, with a single person. I'm not really sure what the structure is going to take like. What structure it's going to look like, but that is what we're going to do for Tuesdays. So I will make that Google survey as an application, put the link down below. You can find it on my Twitter probably. That'd be the best place to look if you can't find it. And in the Discord also. Be a third place to look if you can't find it below this YouTube video. Fitness Friday is pretty self-explanatory. And then Science Saturday is going to be me reading a scientific article and interpreting the research for you guys. And we're going to try to be doing current research in sport psychology or performance psychology that is interesting and applicable to esport training. All right. Those are the announcements. So we're going to kick that off. The app is going well. Mind Games app is coming along. So I'll keep you updated on that. We have finished designs and the basic structure of it. I am looking for right now, I need help. The business is established, but I need help from a lawyer to do the terms of use and privacy policy. So if you know anybody who does internet businesses, terms of use, privacy policy, who's a lawyer, please push them my way or recommend them to me on Twitter, twitter.com/mindgamesweldon. And I'm also looking for information or help with business licenses. So it's a Minnesota business. It's a Delaware business, and the business address is in Minnesota, but it's a Delaware C Corp. And I'm trying to figure out what licenses I need to apply for to function. So that kind of information would be very useful. If you know somebody who has that information, please shove them towards me. And let's dive into the show, shall we? We have 4 questions today, so we have to get going. First question is from Patrick.
Hey Weldon, this is Patrick. I was wondering, in your opinion, when is the best time to practice mindfulness training? I personally like to practice it in between games so I can rest my eyes, but I find it hard to put the game aside and actually go through with it. I bought the Mac program, which is great by the way, but I listen to the course every 2 or 3 days or so, which I would like to bump up to every day. Should I make a schedule so I'm not as tempting to continue playing? Thanks, Weldon.
All right, couple things I recommend, Patrick. First of all, I think the best time to do mindfulness training is in the morning. That's just personal preference. Could be at night for you. And I think between games, less what you want to do is mindfulness training and more you want to do centering exercises. So you don't necessarily have to do seated, eyes closed meditation between games. You can simply do mindful awareness type stuff where you are standing up, sitting down, moving your body, taking a walk, listening, eating a meal, or whatever you're doing, you're just trying to stay centered in the present when you're doing it. So you're paying attention to whatever sort of physical sensations that you can sense. Touch, taste, sight, sound, smell. So whatever you can incorporate through those senses and to stay present in the moment and stay focused on what you're doing, that is something that you can do. And this will help assist you more with sport mindfulness. So the idea behind sport mindfulness is that all this mindfulness training is great, right? But it's the application of that training in the game that matters. And so you want to start transferring your skill in seated meditation into mindful awareness in various physical tasks, and especially tasks within the game. And so what I recommend for trainees is not to do seated eyes closed meditation between games, but to do mindful awareness type activities where you are trying to pull yourself into the present and be kind of focused on your body. In a present state moment kind of way, in a non-judgmental awareness kind of way. And then you try to bring that into the game for a few minutes. Try to do it within the game, maybe at certain times, or at the very least in between games. And then as far as increasing the lectures, I think every 2 days seems fine. But as far as your question regarding setting a schedule, I 100% think that you should decide before you start how many games you're going to play. I think you should sit down and say, I'm going to play 5 games. I'm going to play 3 games. I'm going to play 7 games. Whatever number it is, I believe fundamentally that it's always a good idea to pick that number as a plan and stick to it, because it's kind of like accomplishing something. It's kind of like checking a tick off a box and just saying, okay, I've done that and I promised it to myself. And you can even then punish or reward yourself. Once you have set that goal, you can use it you can say okay, I did it. Now I'm going to play one more just as a bonus, or I'm not doing very well today and I'm flaming the sky, so I think I need to quit early. And you'll know what early is, and you'll know what taking one more as a bonus is because you've set a goal beforehand. So I think that it's worthwhile to always kind of make a plan about that. Thanks for the question. Oh, and by the way, those of you who are wondering what the Mac program is, mindgames.gg/MAC, check it out. It's going to be replaced soon by the Mind Games app, and anybody who already owns it will just be grandfathered in at no cost. Next question is from Ephraim.
Hi, Weldon. I'm that Challenger AD carry again.
Challenger AD
I
carry.
always wanted to become a pro player. 2 years ago, I played at an amateur level in my country and got to a point where me and my teammates were the second best to the best team in my country. But then I had to take that 1 year pause for my university entry exams. I studied very hard and took first place at the entry exam, but it also made me realize that I want to follow my passion more and be a pro player. But I have no support from my family and most of my friends, as they believe I can't really make a living out of it. The only support I have is my girlfriend, which I'm really thankful for. And the question is, how can I strive through this and be able to follow my passion, knowing that people I care about are against this, and be able to not take their opinions to heart?
Okay, Ephraim, thanks for the question. So, I think that what you should do is use it as ambition and as fuel. I think that you can, mentally speaking, it's almost a win-win situation if you have something you want to do. Ephraim, if you have something that you know that you want to do, it's completely irrelevant what your desired support network looks like, what your desired support network thinks of your endeavor. So let me put it this way: if you know that you want to do this, and your person that you think should support you, if they are supporting you, then win. Okay, they can support you. Or if you know that you want to do this, and the person that you think should support you is not supporting you, also a win, because you can use the desire to prove them wrong as fuel. You can be like, okay, well, I have to show them. I have to prove to them that I am good enough and that this is the thing and that I can do it and that I need to accomplish that. And you can use that desire to either... You can have several motivations about this. You can want to stick it to them. You're going to be like, I'm going to show you, or you can say like, I want to make them proud. Okay, they doubt me. I don't want to fail because I don't want that doubt to be founded. I want to prove to them that I have what it takes. Or it can be like, I want to make sure that like I do it because they don't think I can. Not because I want to stick it to them, but not because I want to make them proud, but because they think it can't be done, and so that challenges me. So you have all these different ways of looking at it psychologically, but all of it is motivation that you can use as fuel. You should think of it as kindling that you're burning for your fire. What they're doing is almost irrelevant because no matter what they think, you should be able to do it. Your support network now is the people who actually support you. So it's not the people that you want to support you or that you think should support you. It's the people that actually do support you. And if you don't have a support network, which a lot of people, if you're starting a new thing, you lose your whole old support network, unless it's family. Now, in this case, family might not be supporting you also, so that sucks. But like I said, it doesn't suck that much because it's all about flipping your mindset about it and then going and just finding a new support network for the other stuff, for the minor stuff that you need. So remember that you don't need a big support network. You just need the 3 pillars, which are the cheerleader, somebody who likes you for you, even if you succeed or don't succeed at this, somebody who is your mentor or somebody who can advise you because they've walked the path that you've walked and they have a perspective on it. Doesn't necessarily even have to be the same path, like a pro player path. It can be somebody who's just wise about life. And then the journey partners, people who are in it with you. And those are kind of like the core elements of this emotional support network. But I would say there's plenty of pros who made it with support and without support, and it's just all perspective. It's all perspective and how it is that you use the situation that you have to motivate yourself. The main thing you need is motivation. And maybe they're supporting you by not supporting you, which is motivating you more than it would have motivated you otherwise. There you go. Thanks for the question, by the way. Ooh, that sounded like somebody subscribed on Twitch. Make sure you guys check out the live show, twitch.tv/mindgamesweldon. I will check that out after the YouTube show, and we will give them a big shout out and a bunch of emote spam in chat. Okay, third question from Lucas.
Hey, Weldon. Hope you're doing fine. So, I would really appreciate some advice on replacing old habits for new ones. I've been stuck in a certain elo for a while, and even though I've been learning a lot about the game, learning new theories and everything else, I can improve my results in a consistent way. This has been going on for a year and a half almost, so any advice I would really appreciate. Thanks, and have a nice day.
All right, so there's a couple different ways to pick up knowledge, quote unquote, about the game, what Lucas is talking about here. First of all, studying. So you're watching other people's VODs. The second one is learning in-game, so you're studying your own game and you're realizing things. And the third way is your body just learns it. Like you just get beat enough that you start dodging the punch. Or you just get hit with a skill shot enough that you just start knowing that you need to dodge it beforehand, okay? So generally that third thing we don't care about so much because it's automatic. You just get punched so much that you start dodging it. Or you get hit with that skill shot so much or you miss it so much that you don't miss it anymore. Generally what Lucas is talking about is the first two. He's talking about studying the game and learning something and then not being able to implement it, or picking it up from playing but not being able to keep to it because you just break your habits, okay? And the only way that I know around this is to make plans sequentially about what it is that you want to focus on and focus on that thing at the exclusion and sometimes the cost of the rest of your game. So essentially you say like, I am going to 100% trade very well this game, period, at the exclusion of everything else, meaning that you're going to forget about trying to win, trying to communicate, doing strategy, leaving lane, roaming, or anything. You're only going to try to trade at last hits. So every single time they go up for a last hit, you're going to try to be in the best position to trade, and that's it. Even at the expense of your own CS. Like, you're going to CS crappily, but you're still going to trade them at the optimal time to trade DPS onto them when they're in their last hit animation and they have a cooldown burned or something like that. So essentially, you got to force it. If you want to break bad habits, you need to never do the bad habit. You need to only do the new thing. And in order to only do the new thing, you need to focus really hard on purposely not doing it, which means you need to structure your whole game around it, because unfortunately, in League of Legends, we do not have drills. You cannot just do a drill and then work on the thing over and over and over again until you embed it. You have to like make the game your drill. You have to pretend that the game is a drill game, and then you're only doing that thing for the game. Maybe this will be easier for some of you to stomach if you do it in a normal game. I do it in ranked games because I don't care about my teammates, to be honest. And half the time I'm winning them anyway because the drill is effective. So I would say that's what you have to do, is cut everything else out at the expense of the thing that you're doing as much as possible. Now, there are some things that can only be completed in certain game phases, such as like setting up for dragon, etc., and that just has to be that your whole game is centered around that idea of getting to that point and practicing that setup. And whether or not you get to do it 1 time or 10 times, it's really important to be able to do it the maximum amount of times possible in the game, period, and then to review them afterwards. And if at all you did it the wrong way 1 time, that's going to hold you back. That's going to like slow you down, because you're going to be kind of working on the wrong neural pathway of your learning. And so you're going to be reinforcing the wrong neural pathway of your learning. So you really need to make sure to do a new habit that you cut out the old one, that is like a key element to like this transition to doing the new action. Okay? Work more on cutting out the old one. Try to exclude it completely from the game and put every effort you can into doing that. So tackling things one at a time so you can give them full focus, even at the expense of losing the game. Even at the expense of losing the game, because what your goal is not to win or lose, your goal is to switch to this new habit, which means you're going to be worse at it, necessarily. Sometimes. Not necessarily is what I meant to say. It's not necessary that you're going to be worse player when you're picking up a new habit, but generally it's the case that when you're replacing a new skill with an old one, you're slightly worse at the new one until you refine it, or until you figure out how it fits in with your play. So you got to be willing to like take an L in order to get rid of an old habit and work on a new one. All right. Last question from Nixus. Before I jump into it, I wanted to recommend the Mac program, which I talked about earlier, and you heard the first caller mention, mindgames.gg/MAC. In this program, you will find a 47 video online training course of what I go through with pro athletes that I work with. So this is essentially the not live, not one-on-one version of what I have done with the pro teams that I've worked with in both Counter Logic Gaming, TSM, a little bit in G2, and in all the other teams that I've worked with. Elements of this have like leaked in, and it's essentially the fundamentals of mental resilience. Fundamentals of mental resilience. Get it? But yeah, so the what it does is in the name, mindfulness, which is essentially learning how to focus on the present. Acceptance, which is more or less saying, I'm not going to try to change things that I can't change, and I'm okay with that. And then commitment, which is essentially how to gear your effort towards what really matters instead of procrastinating. And put those 3 things together, and you have success over time. If you apply them over time to the craft that you are trying to perfect. So that's what it is. And this 100% little guarantee sticker in the bottom that you see on the screen here is basically saying, I have a 100% refund at any point policy. So if you don't like the program, you can just say, hey, not really my thing, and I just send you your money back. Money, right. So it's $30, but you need to use the code AskWeldon, which is the name of the show, the Ask Weldon show. Use the code AskWeldon to get the $5 discount. And I run this way in order to figure out where people are coming from. For example, there's a code for the podcast, and there's a code for the Twitch channel, and things like that. So I know where people are coming from when they buy the program. But really, the cost is $25. And if you can't afford that, if you live in the rural parts of Brazil or something like that, the point of this cost is because I have done a lot of tests over the last, this is the third version of this program. I'm working on the fourth right now. It's an app. I've done a lot of tests over the years of price. I've sold it for over $300. I've sold it for free, and less than $5. And I found that there's a little bit of oomph that goes along with putting your money on yourself and saying, I'm going to do this thing. And this is the sweet spot that I found for the most people that can, because my goal is to spread it universally, which is why I also tested it at the free level. I want everybody to be able to do this, right? But I found out that when you give it away for free, less people make use of it than if they're buying it. And so now it's for sale, and when it's going to be an app, that's going to be more cemented, because obviously apps require maintenance and work and improved content and stuff like that. So there's going to be a reason for the pricing structure within the business model itself. But for now, if you can't afford it and you really need it, message me on Twitter. Twitter.com/mygamesweldon. And apologies if I don't check it right away. Get a lot of DMs because I have open DMs. Open door policy on flaming me, guys. I get a lot of really nasty messages, but it doesn't really matter because the good ones usually outweigh it. All right, that's all that I have to say about the Mac program. I hope that you check it out. I recently found out that a pro player actually has used the Mac program before they went pro as a way of their training, and then it helped them to get pro. And that was really exciting to hear. Because I had no idea until I started working with them, and they just mentioned it. So it wasn't anybody that you guys know. Don't worry. Okay, on to the last question.
Hey, Weldon, my team and I had just lost a pretty important tournament, and 3 members have decided to leave. So I was wondering what your advice would be for starting from scratch and building up a new team to continue to scrim and compete in tournaments. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, I wish I could just listen to your voice forever. That was so relaxing. It's like deep, rumbly with a British accent. Maybe it's not a British accent. Maybe it's an English accent or a Scottish accent or an Irish accent. I don't think it's any of those because it was pretty easy to understand. But whatever it was, it sounded like one of those nice people on those shows that always gives you the technology and then talks in your head when you're flying around in the Iron Man suit or whatever, like a Jarvis kind of thing. Anyway, what was your question again? Oh yeah, how to recruit a new team. Okay, tips for how to recruit new team members. I had some answers for this, and then I didn't write them down. So now I got to try to dredge them out of my brain from almost an hour and a half ago. All right, guys, you want to recruit a new team. I think, first of all, you need to realize that people have never in history been able to perfect the hiring process. So it's not going to be there's not going to be a filtering protocol that allows you to actually get the right person for the job, right? So there's a couple things you need to have in terms of like looking for team members. The first is you need to have a serendipity. So you just have to plan on luck and serendipity and a little bit of fortune. And then the other thing that you have to do is cast a very wide net. So the number one thing you do not want to do is say, oh, the person who's going to be the best fit for my team is the person within reach, the person within this room who I can just reach out and grab. This pissed me off so much, how pro teams did it for a while. They would be like, I need a top laner. And they would just like grab the closest person to them and like put them in top lane, instead of having a robust process for casting a wide net and recruiting talent. Mostly because they couldn't train talent, so they had no idea how to bring up talent. So they would just settle for somebody who was like flawed already, but just like happened to be standing right there already. So don't do that. Don't be that team manager or team owner or team, co-captain or whatever that just like randomly grabs people who are nearby because they're convenient. Cast a wide net. Figure out a way to make a beautiful call to action with a little bit of like behind it, so they have to like write their name and their position, or something, or write a 1-paragraph thing saying why they want to be on your team. Put it on it's nowadays, it's possible to create beautiful landing pages. Put it on a beautiful landing page with some pictures of you guys, maybe the tournament that you just lost, whatever it is you've done, as a group of friends. Like, you're putting out an application to join your group of friends, basically. And then get it out there. Like, put it on Twitter, be like, beg for retweets. This is the one time you get to ask for something that people wouldn't mind retweeting about. You're going to message, you're going to at like all of your favorite pro players or whatever, in the UK or wherever you're playing in. You're going to be like, hey, can you retweet this? We're looking for a new team member, and I just want to get this spread as much as possible. Any help would be appreciated. And you'll get a couple retweets, and you'll expand that net, and they'll all fill out their information in the Google survey, and you'll actually get to like look through and find somebody. Make sure you put questions that allow you to find somebody that you're going to sync with, right? And then understand that it just comes down after that to gut instinct. Like, there's no formula for how to pick the right person. There's going to be a couple things you don't want them to do, and you already know what those are, probably. You don't want them to be tilt lords. You don't want them to be super egotistical. You don't want them to be in the wrong time zone. Figure those things out. But then for the rest of it, like what you do want, there's no way to control that. It's just going to have to work out. And so what you need to do is be able to fast fire people. So, in other words, trial them. It's not about finding the right person perfectly and then signing them forever. It's about being able to say goodbye if things are not working out, but being able to say goodbye amicably. So you want to have like an escape clause, essentially, where you say like, hey, we want to scrim together for like 3 weeks and then have a little meeting. And if you want to say goodbye and it's not going to work out, cool. And if we want to say goodbye and it's not going to work out, cool. We love each other and we love you. We're just like going to try people out, and see how it goes. This is going to put a little bit of stress on the scrims, just FYI, because they're going to feel like they're in a tryout. So you got to do everything you can to make them feel like a team member for those 3 weeks or 2 weeks or 1 day or whatever it is that you want to do. You want to make them feel like a team member. You don't want to talk about it as a tryout. You don't want to treat it as a tryout. You don't want to like judge them after the game. You want to, joke around with them and just have fun and try to get them to relax and play. And then be able to have the emotional fortitude to say like, hey, this isn't going to work out because of this thing or this thing. Or like, hey, can we call you back after we try out this other guy because we just don't know. So those are the elements of what you need to do: is cast a wide net, rely on serendipity, have a list of things that are absolute no's, and then after that, be able to fire people, be able to get rid of people like more easily than other teams are able to get rid of people. Look at Optic Gaming. What did they do this split? Tanked the whole split, ended up in like last place because they couldn't fire anybody mid-split. They couldn't like cut anybody from their team and replace them, even though the ship was literally sinking. It was on fire while it was sinking, and there were sharks in the water. It's like a lack of emotional fortitude, really, is what it is. To say like, sorry, this isn't working out. We got to figure something else out. Like Steve from Team Liquid, he's got it, right? He's able to say, like, the first few splits, he didn't get it, right? He was like, in the middle of the split, he couldn't fire people. He's like, no, I trust my team. I trust my staff. And then he was like, screw this. Like, I'm not going to let these 5 random people like tank my brand, and my entire org and everything that I've spent my entire life building up, or my entire adult life building up. If something's not working out, I'm going to fire people and hire people until I figure out the combination that is going to bring me success. And he got better at saying goodbye to people swiftly when it wasn't working out. So that's something that is a really powerful skill to have, and it gets you a top LCS team and not 9th place. So that's my advice to you. I hope it was helpful. Thank you for tuning into the show today, everybody. Be sure to go back to the beginning of the show and rewatch the announcements if you already forgot them, and check out the Mac program, and stop asking me to turn the show into a podcast. It already is a podcast, anchor.fm/Weldon Green. That's where you can find the link to iTunes. See you tomorrow.